doing my stuff, is to master the skill of mastering skills. What does that mean? How many of you know everything? You one guy. None of us know everything. In business, in life, the easiest, quickest, fastest way to get somewhere is to find somebody else that's already doing what you want, that's already got the success that you want, and then find out what they did and or are doing, and then do the same thing. It's the modeling process. That's how you learn how to ride a bicycle, drive a car, do whatever it is that you do, but you learned it from somebody else. You got a coach. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Some of you in the back, does that make sense? So what it is these people, the people that are in the higher positions and all those things, they know something that they may not necessarily know. Most of the time they know something that you don't, but they are practicing. They have a skill of doing something that you don't yet. So the trick is to learn how to do something quicker. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what is a skill? A skill is nothing more than the ability to consistently execute the task or activity successfully without having to consciously focus on the fundamentals of activity. What the heck does that mean? Here's what it means. It means the ability to do something without thinking about it. How many of you know how to tie your shoes? How many of you know how to ride a bicycle? How many of you know how to drive a car? How many of you remember this? Having gotten in your car and driven somewhere, and then when you're halfway there, you don't even remember stopping at a stop sign or a stoplight or something like that. Raise your hand. Because you don't have to think about put the key in the ignition, put your foot on the brake, and all that stuff. That you have a skill in doing that. So all a skill is the ability to do something without having to think about it. Your skill in your business, whatever it is, whatever your upline or whatever anybody tells you is the most important thing for you to do, that's the skill that you need to learn how to do without having to think about it. Look, I gotta be honest with you. I enjoy what I do. Since I've been here, and I count, 40, and by the way, I get to travel around, now you know my face, so you'll know me, but I get to travel around fairly anonymously. And since I've been here, and I only came in yesterday, 38 of you people approached me and asked me if I would be interested in a business opportunity or my health. 38 of you. And some of them were a little nervous, and some of them were just, hey, how you doing? What's your name? My name is blah, blah, blah. Hey, listen, would you be interested in learning about something? And they gave me this thing that I know they already taught you, but I could tell that they have a skill in doing that. Now, by the way, those people have mastered the skill of doing that, and those people are the ones that are probably going to go further faster. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So they've learned that skill. Does that make sense? Yeah. And the trick is for you to learn those skills as well. So can you understand that it's important for you to learn how to do a skill? Yes?
Yeah.
Here's the reality. So let me ask you another question. What is the most important skill for you to master? Skill? Yes. Good answer. But what's the most important skill for you to master in anything for you to go further faster? If I could teach you one thing, what's the most important thing for you to master? It's a question to you right now. Here's the answer. That's the answer. And the reality is, if there's one thing that I can teach you, this is the number one thing. Now, by the way, I'm honored and I'm absolutely blown away that I get to speak to you guys from time to time. How many of you I got to speak to you on the calls over the last little while? Great. And I'm going to be working with your management, and I don't have a lot of time with you today, but I'm going to be teaching you more intricate stuff and more things to take you further faster. Is that exciting for you? Yes? And I'm here with, by the way, the most unbelievable tool that you have as far as I'm concerned in terms of personal development, Success Magazine. How many of you get that magazine and read the magazine? Read it, yes, absolutely. Read it from cover to cover, guys, because it's that input and staying in that vein that's going to keep you going further faster and wash out all the other stuff, because there's a lot of other distractions out there. Got it? Yeah. buy about other things as well. How many of you have that little set in your house that I call the electronic income reducer called your television set? And the internet and your smartphones and all those things, they're distracting. And for us to learn, and by the way, that's what it's going to take, is for your ability to focus on exactly what it is that you need to do to get to so you can make it happen. But the reality is, most of us don't. Let's take a look at this thing. I call it the focus factor. What is it? What is focus? Well, here's a dictionary term. It's collective resources and energy directed towards a singular point of interest. What the heck does that mean? I was like a laser. All it is it takes light and, bounces it off of mirrors and so on and so forth, and it directed until it focuses out, and it's this intense beam of light that goes out. Human focus is the internal and external intention and attention directed towards a singular point of interest. What the heck does that mean? Again, lowest common denominator. Here's what that means. Focus for you is simply this. Whatever you're looking at the moment, if you understand this, whatever you're looking at in the moment causes your body, causes your life, causes everything to happen inside of you in a specific way. Causes you to feel a certain way. Remember what I said before, your purple tongue? Whatever you're looking at is what, when he looked in the mirror, he went, hey, I got a purple tongue, and he felt a certain way. Does that make sense? Yeah. And how you feel will determine what you will or you won't do. Now, by the way, it's not necessarily what you're looking at physically, it's what you're imagining. Now, I'll share with you. The focus, the power of focus. The ability to focus one's attention and intention on any subject will cause a chain reaction of physical and emotional events that will cause whatever the point that you're looking at to come closer to you. And here's what I mean by that. How many of you want more business, if you will? The rest of you? I'll try that again, because everybody should be raising your hand on this. How many of you want more and better business? Okay? How many of you want business to come to you? Raise your hand. Then I suggest you pay attention, because I'm about to open up your world. Okay? Now, I speak for a lot of corporations, and one of the corporations that I spoke to a while ago was called JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratories. And they're an offshoot from NASA. And I got in, and I taught at the University of Southern California for a long time, and I had engineers in there, and that's how I got invited to do this other gig. And while I was there, doing this event, after the event, they said, Joseph, come on, we want to show you something. And they took me down to this warehouse, and this warehouse was about almost as big as this. It was an airplane hangar. And at this end, by us, they had a rocket that looked like that. It was on a stand, and it's just like that. It has fins on it and all that stuff. And then way on the other end of the hangar, they had a box, a big metal box, and it was hanging on a chain from the ceiling. And the guy goes, this is what you're talking about. The human brain works like these missiles. And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, watch this. And he opened up the rocket, and he turned it on. And as soon as it did, the little fins went zzz. And he said, what I did was I just turned the brain on to this to focus on that box. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah, wherever that box goes is where this missile's going to go. He said, watch this. And then he called down the hall, and the guy grabbed the box, and he went like this. And he threw it like that. And so it started swinging from one end like that. And it would go like 10, 15 yards swinging like that. But the interesting thing was, this rocket, even though he didn't turn the rocket on the power, the little fins on it, when the thing would go there, the fins would go zzz, zzz. And the fins, when a rocket is flying, that's what guides it. And I said, unbelievable, that's the truth. That's the way we work as a human being. Whatever you're focusing on, whatever your target is what your body will do. Let me repeat myself, because you really need to get this. Whatever you're focused on is what your body will do. Say it.
Whatever you're focused on is what your body will do.
Say it out loud. Whatever I'm focused on is what my body will do.
Whatever I'm focused on is what my body will do.
And I really mean that. So it's a no-brainer that all you have to do is focus or refocus on something, and your body's going to get up early, stay up late, do the extra things that it needs. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Another real quick story. True story. When I grew up, and I shared this with you guys before. I grew up in a small town out in the middle of the desert, and they had these straight roads that would go forever. 20, 30, 40 miles with no stop signs. And 2, 3, 4, 5 times a year, you'd hear about people there's 20 yards in between each other. If you had 20 yards to miss something that was going to wreck your day, why would you hit the pole? And by the way, before you answer, they did aerial photographs, and they showed that 85% of the skid marks that went off the road went right into the telephone poles. And the people that lived, if they lived, they always said the same thing. Last thing I saw was a telephone pole. I didn't want to hit the telephone pole. Why did they hit the pole? Go back to what I just taught you. Why did they hit the pole?
They focused on it.
Because they were looking at it. Whatever you look at is what your body will do. Your body sees the pole and it goes, pole, pole. Even though you don't want to hit it, pole, pole, pole. They're looking at it and their body steers them in. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's the concept I want you to get. The focus factor. Training yourself to focus or to refocus will cause a chain reaction for you and for other things around. And here it comes, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. When you get excited, when you're focusing on what you want, you glow with energy. And when you do, you become a magnet to other people. Now you might think I'm crazy, but how many of you are attracted to people that are excited and enthusiastic and so on and so forth? When you focus on what you want, that's what happens. I gotta move on really quickly. So I call this the monster focus formula. Number one, find whatever it is that you need to focus on. I'm gonna give you some suggestions, but you need to check with your trainers, your upline, and all that to find out what's the most important thing for you to focus on in your place. And feel it. Why? If you're afraid, if you're scared, feel it. So you can get rid of it. Number two, observe the desired outcome. Why are you doing it? What do you want? You want more money? You want more cars? You want more whatever? The outcome from focusing on what you want. If your focus is on presenting more, or doing more, that kind of thing, why are you doing it? So you can build your business. But if you look at it, then you start that chain reaction. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Next, which is really important, you must celebrate. You must celebrate. I don't mean just going to a party and painting your silly butt green. I mean in the moment. It's so important. I don't have the time to teach you about it, but it's so important. How do you celebrate? Watch this. Everybody look up here really closely. Get a good camera on my face here for a second, if you will. I know what you're thinking. He's unbelievable. Stop. I want to show you how to celebrate. I'm not going to go through the mechanics of it right now. Watch this. It's very complicated. You have me? Watch this. Want to see it again? Everybody stand up quickly. Now, as silly as this is, I want you to celebrate. Now, I call this the golden god or the golden goddess. Everybody on the count of three, all I want you to do is to put a big smile on your face and go like this. Yes! On the count of three, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
One more time because you're just so darn cute. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Give yourselves a hand, have a seat. Now you don't know this, but what that does is it starts to sink it into your nervous system. The next thing is to upload it. And upload it means all you got to do is to speak some words. Again, this is all psychology, and I look forward to teaching you the intricacies of these things as we go on. How many of you are interested in further coaching in this, by the way, Richard? Because I have so much I want to teach you.